When a merchant drags a new section onto their homepage inside the theme editor and hits save, what file on disk actually changes? There's no developer involved, no deploy, no liquid file being hand-edited. Today we open the real answer, straight from Shopify's own public Dawn theme, a plain JSON file. Online Store 2.0 replaced handwritten template files with structured data, and because Dawn is fully public, we can read the actual JSON templates and the actual layout file that ties them together, instead of guessing at how the theme editor works underneath. Welcome back to Shopify Development Deep Dive. Part 1 mapped the whole platform, Part 2 opened Liquid's real interpreter. Today we go one layer up, into the mechanism that made the modern theme editor possible, Online Store 2.0. Before this, a theme's page templates were Liquid files with markup and includes baked directly into them, and changing the layout of a page meant editing code. Since 2021, Dawn and every Online Store 2.0 theme use JSON templates instead, and every example in this episode is read directly from Dawn's real, public template files. 5 things should click by the end of this part. Why Shopify replaced hand-edited Liquid page templates with structured JSON files in the first place. The real shape of a JSON template: a sections object describing what's on the page, plus an order array describing what order they render in. How a single block inside the JSON maps directly to settings a merchant can actually edit in the theme editor, with no code involved. How a variable called content for layout, together with reusable section groups, connects a page's JSON template to the shared header and footer around it. And where every single example in this episode genuinely comes from, the real, public Shopify/Dawn repository, not a simplified recreation of it. Here's the whole path in 5 stages. A page starts as a JSON template, like templates/product.json. Inside it, a sections object lists every section on that page by name, each with a type, its own settings, and any blocks it contains. An order array says what sequence those named sections render in, and that array is exactly what changes when a merchant drags a section up or down in the editor. Shopify takes that whole structure and renders it as a single value called content for layout. And finally, theme.liquid drops that value into the page, sandwiched between a header group and a footer group that are themselves JSON-driven section groups, not hard-coded markup. No step in this pipeline involves editing a Liquid template by hand. A few things help here, though none are strict requirements. Comfort reading plain JSON objects in curly braces, arrays in square brackets, settings nested a level or 2 deep. Part 2's mental model helps directly, because every section named in a JSON template still renders through the exact same Liquid pipeline we opened last time: lexer, parser, tags, and all. If you want to open these exact files yourself, clone github.com/shopify/dawn locally. Everything today is real code sitting in that repository right now. And you don't need to have ever seen the old legacy template format. We'll describe exactly what it looked like and why Shopify moved away from it. This is the real top of Dawn's homepage template, templates/index.json. The sections object is keyed by a name the merchant never sees here, image_banner, and each entry names a type, image-banner, which points at an actual section file, sections/image-banner.liquid. Inside that section, a blocks object holds one entry per content block, each with its own type and its own settings hash. Notice there's no HTML anywhere in this file. It's pure data describing what to render and how it's configured. 2 arrays do all the ordering work in a JSON template, and neither one is HTML. Inside a section, block_order lists its blocks by name heading, then button, which is exactly what changes when a merchant drags a block up or down inside that section in the editor. And at the very bottom of the whole file, a top-level order array lists the sections themselves, image_banner, then featured_collection. Drag an entire section to a new position on the homepage, and this is the one array that actually changes on disk. This is Dawn's real product page template, templates/product.json. Its main section has type main-product, and every visible piece of a product page: vendor, title, price. The variant picker is its own named block inside that one section. Look closely at the vendor block. Its text setting is literally the string curly brace product.vendor, a real Liquid expression stored as plain JSON text. The section renders that setting through Liquid at render time, which is exactly the pipeline Part 2 opened. This one array is the entire visual order of a Dawn product page: vendor, then title, then price, then the variant picker, quantity selector, by buttons, description, and a share block last. A merchant reordering the product page in the theme editor moving price above the title, say, produces exactly this array with 2 entries swapped. Nothing about main-product.liquid itself has to change for that reorder to happen. The section just reads whatever order this array gives it. And here's the section level order for the whole product page, the direct sibling of the block order array we just read. Main the section we opened in steps 3 and 4 renders first, then a disclosures section, then related dash products. 3 named sections, 1 array controlling their sequence. This is genuinely the entire page composition model. Name a section, configure its settings and blocks, and place it in this array. This is the real payoff, pulled straight from Dawn's layout.liquid. A tag called sections, given the name header-group, renders a JSON-driven section group for the header itself, a JSON file, not hard-coded markup. Then, inside a plain main element, a single variable, content for layout, is where the current page's entire JSON template, everything we just read in template/product.json, actually gets injected. And sections footer-group closes things out the same way. Every Online Store 2.0 page shares this exact same layout file, only the value of content for layout changes from page to page. And here's the actual templates directory from Dawn, listing every real file it contains. Every single one ends in .json product, collection, cart, search, even the 404 page. Contrast that with a pre-Online Store 2.0 theme, where the same directory held files like product.liquid, with markup, includes, and section references all baked directly into one handwritten file per page. That legacy format still technically works today for backward compatibility, but Dawn Shopify's own reference theme doesn't ship a single one. Every page here is data first. One more section from that same homepage template, to make the pattern land, featured_collection, type featured-collection, with its own flat settings, hash a title string, which collection to pull from, how many products to show, how many columns wide. No blocks this time, because this particular section type wasn't built to need any. Same shape as image_banner, same shape as main-products, blocks, a name, a type, and settings repeated for every section on every page in the entire theme. A handful of things trip people up here. A sections type string has to match a real file in the sections directory exactly, get feature-collection wrong by 1 character and the section quietly fails to render, with no obvious error in the JSON itself. Dragging and dropping in the theme editor looks like a big visual change, but underneath, it is genuinely only ever the order array or a block_order array getting new entries in a new sequence, nothing else in the JSON changes. Legacy.liquid templates aren't dead, Shopify still renders them for themes that haven't migrated. But Dawn, Shopify's own reference theme, doesn't ship a single one. And content for layout only ever carries the current page's body, the header and footer live in their own separate section groups, rendered by their own separate tags. Let's pull it together. A JSON template is a sections object plus an order array, structured data, never HTML. Blocks inside any one section get the exact same treatment one level down, with their own block_order array. Content for layout is the single point where a page's JSON template actually lands inside the shared theme.liquid. Header group and footer group aren't hard-coded either, they're JSON section groups, rendered by their own sections tag, completely separate from the page body. And every line of code in this episode was read straight from Shopify's own public Dawn repository, the actual files a merchant's theme editor is reading and writing right now. That's Online Store 2.0, straight from Shopify's real, public Dawn theme JSON templates, block order, and the content for layout tag that ties a page to its shared header and footer. Part 4 zooms out one more level and walks Dawn's entire architecture end to end, every directory, every convention, and how the pieces we've opened in parts 2 and 3 actually fit inside it. If you want the rest of this series as it publishes, subscribe now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 4.